Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome again to our weekly collective consciousness. And um, today I want to look at how we really how make sense of some of the things that we are starting to experience. So from today, if we begin to look at what's going on around us, we'll find that there's a number of things that are underway. So there is this um, virus narrative out there. There is the Black Lives out there. There is the um, change of British and colonial history through the statues. There's that story out there. There is the second spike coming. There's that story out there. And in all of this, people are unsure and confused. Many individuals, like for example, a couple of weeks ago, we're all, kids are going back to school today. Well, they're not. And this creates all sorts of concerns for parents, for children, for everyone that's involved in this. And that confusion has an impact on your mental state because that's where it begins, trying to make sense of what's going on. And then that impacts your health and well being. So, with the flame process, we're always looking at how to minimize risks to things that are underway. Just like the fear energy became the anger energy, um, anger energy is like a fire. The more fuel you give it, the greater it becomes, and the more severe it becomes. And anger and fire are not very different. They blind you, you can't see what's behind the fire. So, anger will always blind you. And two, it will destroy, and in the destruction, it hurts. So, anger doesn't have to be negative. Anger can be channeled, and anger should and is being channeled, where people are starting to make their voices heard. As we said to you a few weeks back, freedom of expression. And some of the freedom of expression may be contrary to our beliefs, contrary to what we think the way a world should be. And the best advice that I can share with you that I feel is helpful in this moment is don't get attached to anything. Don't get attached to what you thought was normal. Don't get attached to the magical, psychologically conditioning psyops word new normal. Completely reject that particular word, completely, or those two words. It's the abnormal. You are going through is the abnormal. It is that which cannot be consolidated. It is a movement, it's a change, it's a transformation. So the best advice we can have is don't get attached to what's around you. Don't get attached to your history. I'm afraid human history is very different from the history that we have been taught in our uh, general kind of curriculum. And I'm not just talking about, some of the atrocities of one nation against the other, colonization, genocide, the removal of indigenous peoples' land and property simply for money. Money has been the worship. The society has worshipped money. Money has been the goddess, the god, the authority. More money you had, that was the actual purpose of the life that we were taught. Go out there and make money. Go out there and become successful. Go out there and do this. And all these expectations are placed upon you by all that's around you because it needs that desire in you that you are not enough, that somehow, if you have £1 million in your bank account, you will have made it. The truth of the matter is that mostly it's in the world that we have been occupying, which is now thankfully falling apart, and we can't be it can't be sooner. Um, has been a world that has been consolidated. Its function as a human being is simply to control and to access and accumulate money. Now we are realizing, actually, there are many people without jobs. There are many insecurities. What we consider to be the normality of existence, which was getting up, going to work, doing this, that, the other, that is completely shaken. And it's brought us to what it means to be alive, what it means to be human. And as we begin, and it's not something that you are going to necessarily opt for. Oh, I think I'm going to go into what does it mean to be human. I'm afraid the circumstances that we're in, as we keep reiterating, is a shift of vibration. It's a shift of frequency. It's a shift of consciousness. What was acceptable 2 months ago is not acceptable. And as we move along, the attachments that we have to our historical narrative, our normality, our authority, well, my friends, it's going to fall apart. And it is starting to fall apart. And we can only judge where we are. These historical figures, whoever they may be, we have to judge why are they historically worshipped. What is it that we are worshipping on someone? What is it that we are adoring in someone? It's like saying that if someone built a statue of Jimmy Savile, not for his pedophilia, but for his charity operations, or Epstein, is that acceptable in this day and age? And of course, it's not acceptable. And the same should be true that if we have this opportunity to really help shift the paradigm, and that's where we began. This is a paradigm shift. Things are never quite going to be what they were. And you can see that it's starting to manifest. The whole energy is manifesting. So if we accept change, if we trust that the change can only be of value depending on where we are. If we value compassion, we value equality, we value justice, then we should be able to let go of all that represents the other side. That's all there is to it. It depends what you value, where your identity resides. And through our meditation, we have demonstrated experientially that when we step behind the thoughts, the emotions, the sensations, and we become truly present, either using the sound or using just awareness, that we arrive in a place which has certain attributes. And that inner space, it's something that you are aware of within yourself. It's not something that's brought out from the outside. It's an internal um, expression of experience. And that expression of experience is an expression of experience that have qualities of stillness, of silence, of awareness, of knowing, of also being in that space. However, we don't want to cling to that, but we want to see it for what it is. And what that represents is what the Buddhists may call emptiness, or within certain Indic tradition, we may call nirvana, this place of emptiness. But it doesn't mean it's empty. What it means, it is full, pregnant with possibilities. It is pregnant with all that is possible. So, depending on where we are, what we cultivate for ourselves, and we recognize that anger in the current climate has a role to play, we don't add to that, but we recognize there needs to be now some compassion. Because to shift from this aggressive, male, violent, um, machoistic expression, which anger tends to embody quite often, it's important to move into a more balanced, harmonious space. And this balanced, harmonious space is to do with compassion. Now, here, with compassion, we're not talking about that we accept because we are compassionate. No, on the contrary, we are sovereign human beings. We have human rights like every other human being. And we can only honor their rights if we honor what we are and who we are. And in that honoring, in that gratitude, in that reverence, in that um, sense of privilege, the expression from this emptiness can only be that which heals, not just yourself, but as you move along. Because the entire game is based on energy. And depending on where your energy is, we can either resonate with that or we can interrupt it. And now the time is to resonate with the change. Now the time is to move with the change and to want to change with the change and to allow ourselves to have that freedom that, you know what, it's okay. It's okay to allow yourself to change with the change because only you are a judge of yourself. No one else matters. No one else matters. Only you are your own judge. So it's important to recognize where you are, where your authentic self lies. And the characteristics that we can look for authenticity are about self awareness. It's how aware am I? Am I being drawn into the narrative? And if I'm drawn into the narrative, how am I responding to it? Not reacting to it, responding. We keep reiterating keep away from negative information, keep away from conflict. If any situation where you feel it's conflict, it is better to step back. No pointing engaging. If people don't see your point of view, it's okay. You know what? See everything, believe nothing, trust your intuition. It's only when we believe nothing will our intuition speak to us. So, in that intuition, we will know whenever we come across something that gives us some level of confusion. So, I started this session off with saying that we're trying to make sense. Trying to make sense in itself becomes distressing. If we simply accept things are in the process of change and this change is increasing, and this change is can only be a change in one of two directions. Either it maintains what it's the system that has always operated and the change has been taking place within that, or we change the system. And now the system is changing. So education is changing and will change and it should change. Children should be taught what it means to be healthy. We should all be taught how to meditate. We should all be taught the process of human evolution in terms of consciousness. We should be taught how to make gardens. We should be taught how to grow food. We should be taught how to process food. We should be taught how to be self sovereign. We should be taught how to be a a practitioner of martial arts. We should be taught healing. We should be taught Ayurveda. This is the real education. Yes, programming, etc., is facilitating the knowledge that's there. Time to embrace the knowledge that's there. Knowledge that has been waiting for this moment. Because that knowledge brings us great wisdom. And with wisdom comes healing, health, and well being. So, in conclusion of today's chit chat, really what I want to say is trying to make sense of the changes is difficult enough. Better to find a place of safety, security, and self sense of self through your meditation, maintain your practice, see the change for what it is, and understand, recognize that you have always been looked after. even in the most dire circumstances. Let us look at what we have and not what we don't have. Let's look at the fact food is provided. We have enough air to breathe. We have enough water. Yes, there are those who are trying to impose their systems on that. But in reality, this is the breakthrough. This is the breakthrough. We are moving into a state of balance. We started all our chats with this, that we are going into a state of balance. That which was unbalanced is going to be balanced within us, with our people around us, with our relationships, with our organizations, with our work, and with the system itself. So prepare yourself that this is not something that's just going to fade away. No, no, no. There are other things that will just be as sudden as the protests are, which will just add another dimension to other changes that need to take place. So recognize that you are in fact honored to be in this time and in this space. You are in fact privileged to be in this moment of now. And then to exercise consciousness, conscious expression, and creativity. To be able to do that consciously, only time will tell you how much that will have aided and healed and enabled this process to go with as minimum damage as possible. But you know what? You can't make an omelette without cracking an egg, as Lenin said. So these are the eggs being cracked. So at the end of it, we may have an omelette. Hopefully, there's no vegetarians there getting offended. But you know what I'm trying to say. That the change can only happen when all systems break through. And as Leonard Cohen once said, it is the crack that lets the light in. It is the crack that lets the light in. So let us leave it at that. Allow the cracks to appear, allow the light to come through and embrace you and to show you that you are no different from the source itself. Okay, so let's do our meditation. Hope you're all ready. So, as before, just shake your shoulders a little bit and your back. And if you just gently close your eyes and close your mouth. And as you breathe in, bring your focus to yourself. Notice your body, notice the sensations in your body. Take your time. This is the only body you have. The better you know it, the better it is for you and for the body itself. So the body has sensations. You can notice the sensations where you're sitting. And you have a sense of your body. So you can sense your feet. You can sense the whole of your body. Notice that your eyes are closed. Notice the darkness. Bring your focus to your tongue. Scan your tongue from the bottom all the way to the tip. And again, allow it to soften. Notice the sensations on the inside of your mouth. And relax your face. As you breathe in, bring your focus to the chair or the floor you're sitting on. Notice how solidly you are held in place. Gravity holds you. And if you just bring your focus to the whole of your body, you'll notice that your body is held in this moment, in this time, and in this space. Wherever space you're in, you can't be anywhere else. You can think of somewhere else, but your body is. So you have awareness of sensations or the sense of your body. Now bring your focus to your chest. Notice that the breath comes in, the chest moves. As the breath goes out, the chest moves. Maybe just slightly, but focus on the movement. And with the movement, there may be subtle sensations around your chest and even the back. See if you can note them. And now notice how you feel. Does this moment feel settled? Do you feel unsettled? Does this moment have qualities that are comfort and pleasant or uncomfortable and unpleasant? Acknowledging how you feel. And then just note what kind of thoughts you've been having, or the last thought you can remember. And on your next breath out, open your awareness and begin to listen to the sounds around you. Follow this sound as far as you can. Notice how listening to the bell allows you to go towards a silent space. Once again, just follow the bell. Draw a slow, deep breath in and relax. Hold your focus beneath your nose with a little bit of effort. Begin to notice that the breath comes into a body, the breath goes out of your body. And at this moment, just notice the breath. Find that your focus has drifted, become a bit dull, or distracted by a sensation or a thought, or my voice. Notice the distraction, come back to your breath, deliberately but gently. Notice that the breath starts and it has an end, and then the out breath has a start and an end. See if you can notice that with your breath. Start, middle, end of your in breath, start, middle, end of your out breath, as best as you can. Stay with your breath. Now gently bring your focus to your out breath in particular. And just notice there's a tiny little gap before the in breath begins. At the end of your out breath, there's a tiny little gap before the in breath begins. See if you can notice that. Allowing each out to move you deeper and calmer. How does your breath feel? Does it feel fast or does it feel slow? Does it feel long or does it feel short? Stay with your breath. Does your breath feel warm or does it feel cold? Does your breath have a sound? Listen to your breath. Notice the sound as the breath comes in and the breath goes out. Breath out, gently open your awareness and begin to listen to the sounds around you, including your breath. And again, we follow the sound of the bell as far as you can. Allow yourself to merge with that silence. Listening. The longer you sit in the silence, the emptier it becomes. Once again, just follow the bell. From this silent space, gently bring your focus just back to your breath. Again, listening to your breath. Comes in, mentally saying the sound so to yourself. And as the breath goes out, gently saying the word hum to yourself. Mentally. So as you breathe in, hum as you breathe out. Gently begin to now lower the volume within yourself. Still repeating the sound, the so, and the hum to yourself, but allowing it to slowly become silent. Stay in the silence, working with the so and listening to it. Maybe just a pulse, but keep listening. Notice the quality of your experience, the peace, the safety, for this is you. And if you can't trust yourself, who can you trust? No fear, no hate, moment of timelessness, a moment in which you are not the body, you're not the thoughts, you're not the emotions, but just awareness, joyful awareness that has this profound privilege to experience life. When you're ready, bring your focus back to your body. Notice how the body feels. Notice you're still sitting in the same place, held in place, supported by existence itself. You can sense your legs all the way down to your feet. Your back is still straight, upright. Shoulders, arms, and hands are relaxed and comfortable. Eyes are closed, mouth is closed, face is relaxed. Breathing in, you can sense your body. Breathing out, you can sense your body. Bringing that awareness, silence into your everyday life. In, you can sense your body. Breathing out, you can sense your body. Knowing that we share this silent space in time and space, contributing to the peace of existence, is an act that will help greatly in this time. Before Before it helps anyone, it helps ourselves. So take some time to be grateful that you've taken some time yourself to look after yourself. It's a bit of self-care. Not just self-care, but also touching base with the source, touching base with your inner space, touching base with what you are. When you hear the next bell, use this bell to draw a few deep breaths in, and in your own good time, gently and opening your eyes. Take your time. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you for joining us again. And we hope to see you on Thursday. In the meantime, know that you're looked after. See everything, hear everything, believe nothing. Make sure you're not attached to anything, because all our attachments are about to be tested. So attach to the peace, attach to that sense of self that is peaceful, healthy, and is within you. Attach to that. Everything else is immaterial, because everything else is now in a process of change. Okay. Thank you very much. Speak to you soon. Fateh.